Stugotz, you have heard me obsess recently on air about everything that I see happening during technological changing times in how we consume just about everything. And now Netflix and Apple and Peacock are getting together to create a bundle for Comcast at a reduced price, and Netflix has bought itself Christmas Day games for the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. And the other day, sports stopped for a moment during a pretty busy time in basketball and hockey to laugh with football at the Tom Brady roast that was live on television. And by every measure I can discern, a really enormous investment and a really enormous success. I would like for you guys to get me some numbers. I don't know if there have been estimates on how much that cost to produce. It seemed like a giant undertaking that would cost, I think, more than $100 million to make. I've got to assume. I don't know how much more. I don't have any idea how much it costs to pay all of those people to do all of that and to throw a flawlessly televised live event. Those are very hard to do for 3 hours without glitches. And Tom Brady now regrets it. I was surprised that he ever did it at all.
Same.
I was surprised that he had a blind spot about how that might land on his children to be products of a public divorce that has to be very hard because, Stugotz, I know so many people who are broken as adults because of the damages done by divorces that aren't that kind of public. And it really did surprise me that as a father, Tom Brady would be not knowledgeable about what the impacts of that could be on his children.
I know he has his regrets. I understand why, and perhaps it wasn't thought through enough. But most of the roasters went out of their way to not directly talk about Tom Brady's kids.
Oh, but Stugotz.
But hold on. I was going to say, but they talked about his relationship with Giselle, his relationship with Bridget Moynihan, and of course, and they said nasty things. And of course, that is going to have an impact on his children. And I'm surprised Tom Brady, who seems to be pretty prepared for everything, did not think that part through before he went forward with the roast.
So he says he wouldn't ever do anything like that again. Not surprising that Stugotz would be maximum Monday morning quarterback on how did Tom Brady not see everything.
I mean, he saw everything the Jets were doing. I mean, before it happened.
That is correct. Mm-hmm. And it's easy for me to also say after the fact. I'm not a father, right? And I'm not, I don't know anything about divorce except I've seen what it's done to some of my friends who are adults who have formative characteristics that come from not knowing as a child, is that my fault that they're no longer together? Why are mom and dad not together anymore? And then to hear the jokes on television of, hey, how about mom cheating with the jiu-jitsu instructor? That's funny, huh? As a child, or getting that at school, or whatever it is the results are, that Gisele Bündchen, were the quotes from her, or was it just reported how upset she was? Were the quotes, did they have her name on saying she was upset, or was it just reports that said that she was upset? Because when you sign up for that, you're allowing a whole bunch of people who don't have to respect the rules in comedy.
Correct.
In that setting to have maximum freedom outside of Bob Kraft.
Right. Well, Dan, you have to factor that in because Giselle is watching that and they are laying into her and their relationship and how it ended. And Tom Brady doesn't get up and say, hey, stop doing that. But the second they go after Bob Kraft, he stands up and says, no more. You're not
wasn't
doing
there.
that.
Bob was there and she wasn't. I felt like the Bob thing felt like he was just performing because he told Bob, hey, I told them no jokes about you. So they do a joke. So he's just got to get up and be like, hey, don't do that.
Wait a minute. Are you not paying attention to what was said on our show and elsewhere? That was not That was not a bit.
I'm not saying it's a bit.
No, Tom Brady was legitimately mad that Jeff Ross crossed the line. Andrew Schultz has said that. Drew Bledsoe said that the tension was not manufactured. In fact, I thought it was super interesting to see how much more comfortable Tom Brady is with confrontation than the rest of us might be in that circumstance. Because Tom Brady had no issue in front of a whole lot of people protecting the power by stamping out Jeff Ross on his home field.
My first thought when that happened was, wow, I can't believe that is what is making him do it and not the countless jokes about his family or kids.
That's what I'm saying.
I hope that his kids didn't watch it. I hope he had like the sensibility to say, hey, don't do it. But also in this day and age, like that was my entire TikTok feed the next day. His kids probably saw that. And I would say like, hey, if my dad wanted to do a roast, if he was like, no, you don't talk about Progressive Insurance that way. But yeah, go ahead, talk about Lucy like that. I would not be happy.
I'm a little confused. You guys mean to tell me that Tom Brady made a career decision that negatively affected his family and he didn't think about it?
Billy,
that doesn't sound like that guy.
What are you laughing about?
Her dad
Billy?
works for Progressive,
No,
which is an important part of that story, though, is absent.
That is, thank you, Billy. I would think that you would.
Consulting.
Yes, you more than anybody around here would totally appreciate making a joke that nobody understands except for a couple of people.
I've said he's worked for Progressive before, and I've also talked about his divorce on air before. I've talked about a lot of things.
Lucy, I agree, but welcome to the Metal Arc family, thinking all the things you've said on the show have been heard by all of America. That is how we do it. We think you've heard every single thing we've said for 20 years and remember it. Billy, more than most. Just imagine. How old are Tom Brady's kids? I want you to imagine whatever it is that happens on school. And this is the part where, Stugotz, I forgive Tom Brady for not understanding. Even telling your kids not to pay attention to somebody, turn off the television, whatever, go out for the night. There is no way for this to be avoided once it starts circulating in places like TikTok for kids. And so it's not just your kids what they're going to get, but it's what all their kids at school, all of their friends are going to get. And now your kids are going to school. It is very real remorse that Tom Brady is feeling. When you do, Stugotz, help me with this because I am not a parent. Help me with what it feels like to love and to know that you've made a decision that harms your children and you didn't see it coming.
I embarrass my kids just about every single day. I've been doing it for 20 years, so I'm an expert on this subject. It's hard, and especially with Tom's kids. Dan, here are their ages, 16, 14, and 11. Kids are cruel at that age. They are relentless, and they are cruel. So what must have happened within those, friendly circles, and at school the next day, and it's probably still going on, I would imagine is relentless and uncomfortable for those kids. But it is hard, Dan, because I am playing Monday morning quarterback. It is hard to see all the permutations that could come from, having yourself roasted by Jeffrey Ross. Did I say that word right?
What was the word? What was the word?
I can't say it again.
Well, try it.
That's the closest I'll ever come.
Well, try.
Permutations?
Oh, no.
That's it. Mutation.
How do you think you spell that?
Permutations?
It's just, how do you spell
That's
it?
closer.
I was going there, Dan. I was trying to help you out. I was giving you, you asked an expert about embarrassing his kids, and I was trying to help you out and tell you what it's like.
It was helpful.
It's hard to see, it's hard. It really is. When you're filming me and I'm smoking cigarettes and I'm doing a bit, the impact it will have on my children, I didn't think of that stuff when I was doing it, when I was in the middle of it, and I wish I had, but I didn't. But Lord knows, no one has embarrassed their kids more than me.
Let me address, though, the idea.
Tom Brady's got nothing on me.
Let me address the idea of what the impact of divorce is. The three children you talked about, the youngest are Giselle and Tom. So it's 14 and 11.
Right.
And the difficulty of those formative years. I will tell you that my wife lost her mother at 12 years old to death, and it is a formative thing that has formed almost the entirety of who she is. And while this isn't death, it can feel like it to kids of that age, even if the parent is still around, because you have lost somebody. And unlike death, in many instances, you blame yourself because you're not adult enough to remove yourself from where the guilt is. This isn't true for everybody, but I've seen it enough at this age and younger. I have a friend who his parents got divorced, and as a toddler, he did not speak for 2 years. after that. Now that's a toddler,
Right.
But wherever it is you go to get the things that feel like love for the rest of your life, your parents divorcing is hard enough by itself. Your parents divorcing because cheating may or may not have involved is hard enough itself. But now add to the element this: all of the kids in the school you're in now know every single thing, and all of comedy is piling on to mommy.
Right. The other thing with Brady is he didn't have to do this. He didn't have to do it. Like, there's no reason to do it. I mean, I act like a jackass because I have to. I embarrass my kids because I have to. Tom Brady didn't have to do this to his children.
Could you say this is a transition into his media career doing this?
I don't know why he did it. I mean, that would be my best guess, but I'm still not sure why he did it.
He said he did it as a favor to Jeff Ross because he thought it would be funny. The Roastmaster General suggested it. It made – how many people watched this? Because – the numbers were really good. It was a success in every way but this. But what a heartbreak for Tom Brady to have it be a success in every way but this, to create the regret and guilt of, I wouldn't do that again. What a horror for my children. I don't know that there's something in the emotional realm that doesn't involve like actual loss that can feel worse to a parent who's actually loving than to have a blind spot about how you harmed your child unnecessarily. I don't know how the disappointment, if you don't care as a parent, if you're not trying to be a good parent, if you think kids need to be more adult, okay, but if you're an actually loving person who cares deeply about the kids and is hurt by the product of divorce, if you then on top of that make a giant public mistake that harms them and you didn't see it coming, that one hurts, man. Even I know he's superhuman, but that one hurts.